Do you want to ace your AP classes in high school? Then this is the right place for you. I just graduated and I have gathered the best tips and tricks that will take you from any other student to someone who scores 5s and 4s on their AP exams. Hi guys, my name is Berna and I have taken 7 AP classes in the course of my high school career, those classes being AP Psychology, AP Chemistry, AP Biology, AP Calculus AB, AP Language, and AP Literature. And AP Psychology. And AP Biology. And AP Physics 1. I still have some very good advice that I wish I would have taken when I was still studying for these tests and taking these classes. You can learn from my mistakes and take the absolute best out of this video. Like always, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. Anyways, let's get right into the video. So a basic overview is I just want you guys to succeed in your AP classes. When I started taking them, I wasn't very sure of what their benefits were or what they could do for me or how to succeed in them, and I just kind of had to figure that out on my own. I'm just going to give you all a basic overview on how to do well during the class and for the final exam. So to get into the importance of AP classes, I think that one of the biggest things that gets people to do AP classes in high school is that it does give you a GPA boost. Most schools do give this GPA boost kind of to encourage their students to take the AP classes, and also because they're significantly harder, it does have that cushion to fall back on in case you don't do absolutely as well as you wish you would have. Personally, at my school, they gave us a 1.0 GPA boost for every AP class we took. It's kind of difficult to explain, but for example, if I had a 3.0 for AP Chemistry, it would technically be a 4.0 on the scale, and then all of my classes would average together to be a little bit more inflated at the end of the year. Another benefit is that you do receive college credit depending on the score you get. A lot of higher ranking schools do demand a 4 or 5, but the schools that are easier to get into take even 3s, which is like the minimum passing score for AP exams, and it saves you a lot of money and time when you do go to college. So those are one of the best benefits about AP classes. Additionally, AP classes are wonderful to show off your dedication to academics and to demonstrate that you're willing to work hard for what you want. That's something that colleges look for during the college application process, and most of the time for these classes, as long as you got a reasonable grade, the fact that you took the class is actually going to be more important than your grade in it, because it demonstrates that you're trying to find something challenging for yourself and you are going above and beyond for your education. And I really saw this when I was applying to college, and I went and I toured various colleges around my area. A lot of them did say that they were looking for AP classes in the profile of the applicants that they looked through. And the admissions officers themselves kind of did confirm that they weren't looking at grades as much as long as you were challenging yourself. Moving on to one of the most important things, study strategies are critical when going through these AP classes and challenging yourself. My first tip when it comes to study strategies is to actually have good time management and take up maybe a calendar system or an organization system. And these systems will help you use technology so that you don't have to put a lot of brain power into it. I have had my Google Calendar since 2020 and I rely on it heavily, and it has helped me so much. I think that I would have forgotten at least half of the things on there if I didn't have it. Different planners like Notion and Todoist also help a lot, but my personal favorite is Google Calendar because you can have tasks and events and everything just kind of in one place. I think it's also worth to talk about breaking your work down into manageable chunks. Just give yourself breaks, don't sit down for 8 hours straight, because one, it's not healthy for you. Two, you're probably gonna decline in attention span over those 8 hours. I've heard of the Pomodoro technique, which is like a 25-minute work period and 5-minute rest repeatedly over and over again. I know that that works for certain people. Me personally, I don't really like it, but test different systems out and see what works for you. The second tip I have is to actively learn. Don't just sit and read your notes because it doesn't work for everyone. You have to engage with the material using flashcards, going to study groups, and just kind of teaching it to someone else, or techniques that work for a lot of people, and me included. Practicing the material is very important once you kind of absorb it, so really practice questions, quizzing yourself. Even doing practice AP exams more towards the end of the year really helps with these classes. Something that helped me actively engage with the material I learned in my AP classes was to actually do unit flashcards, and then I combined all of them at the end of the year on Quizlet. Step number 3 is actually to take good notes. And I mentioned this last because notes for me didn't make a huge impact. Handwritten notes have been proven to stick better scientifically, even though some people prefer it and some people don't. But either way, whether you're using Notion or Google Docs or handwriting your notes, making sure to color code your notes and have different colors that pop out. It's really useful to notice new vocabulary and things that you might not remember when skimming through your notes. Something that has really helped a lot of people, and it's been proven by science, is to use mind maps and mnemonics. Basically, just connect your ideas and try to make little stories out of it. Try to come up with words where every letter of the word represents a different component of the topic you're studying. And obviously this is a little bit more work, but it actually keeps you way more engaged in the topic. Lastly, make sure to include a lot of pictures in your notes. Pictures really are useful and they cut down on a lot of time. Instead of having to read like 3 paragraphs, for example, a picture could do that in less than 5 seconds. Moving on to test preparation. AP exams are a huge thing in high school, especially if you're moving on to higher education and you want to get AP credits so that you don't have to retake a class in college. In order to do well in the exams, you do have to understand how they work. Before I took every exam, I did look at kind of the layout of the exam, how many multiple choice questions, how much time I had to complete that, the free response questions, and how much time I had to complete that. That way you don't come into the exam stressed out about not having enough time and not completing everything you're supposed to. College Board actually has a layout for each of their exams on their website. When preparing for these tests, it's also really good to form study groups and maybe study with friends. That way you can kind of engage with the topics and engage with the content together, so it's not as intimidating as it might be on your own. You can also answer each other's questions, which is really useful, so you're not looking at Google every 5 minutes. And a useful tool that I've heard works for some people is in your AP classroom, there's actually tabs with review sessions within every class that you can look at more at the end of the year. You can look at previous year's review sessions on YouTube too. Next, and a very important thing, is being able to balance your AP classes with extracurriculars and things you do outside of school. When you apply to college, they're going to be looking at more than your grades, more than what you do in school. They're going to be looking for sports, jobs, extracurriculars, volunteer hours, and you have to be able to manage that to be a well-rounded student. Because all of these things balanced together really demonstrates your commitment to each and everything you do, as well as your maturity in being able to handle things and prioritizing. And this takes me to the first tip: prioritize your workload. Prioritize the things that are most important to you. Not everything is going to be the same level of importance in your life, and you have to focus on what's most important, especially at the end of the year when you have AP exams. You have to focus on your AP exams if that is higher up your list. My next tip is remember to have self-care and take care of yourself first. Learn to include little breaks in your study time. Like I mentioned, the Pomodoro technique works for some people, and if you don't want to get up every 25 minutes and take a break, then every hour, every 2 hours, really what works for you. But what I see a lot of people do is I see them pulling all-nighters and studying for hours on end when it comes to AP exam season, and it's just not healthy because at some point things just aren't going to stick the same. Mental health is very important, so try to include hobbies, meditation, self-care, even when you're super busy with AP exam prep. It's all about time management, and the earlier you start doing these things, the better you will get with them over time. Moving on to resources and support. There are so many online resources that helped me with my AP exam prep. One of my absolute favorites is Khan Academy, because Khan Academy manages to break down really complex things into really simple videos. They have a course for almost every AP class. I would basically go on the unit I was studying in school and watch all of the Khan Academy videos they had before the unit test that I was about to take. And then eventually, before my AP exams, I really didn't have to do much prep because I already had those units so reinforced in my head. Like I mentioned, College Board itself also has some really good review sessions on their page and on YouTube. There's a lot of YouTube channels that do provide AP exam prep. YouTube channels and resources work for some but not others. For me, I didn't really like the College Board resources, but I love the YouTube videos in Khan Academy. And actually, the good thing about Khan Academy is that it does quiz you. It has little questions that you could do throughout your study, kind of between videos that they have on their website. I will try to link down below some really useful resources that I use, including Khan Academy and College Board and some YouTube channels. Don't hesitate to ask your teachers for help, because your teachers most of the time can also explain very difficult things in very easy ways because they've been doing this for years. And your teacher most of the time will know what you need help on based on how you do on your exams and what questions you miss, so asking them is actually one of the best ways you can study. So in conclusion, good time management, good self-care, actively engaging with the material, and overall enjoying what you're doing will really help you in the long run. It's best if you're always engaged in the subject and you always pay attention in class, but that can't always happen. And when it comes to AP exam season, just make sure that you listen to your body and its needs, because pulling all-nighters will not land you in good places most of the time. If that works for you, then that works for you, but this is just my personal advice based on what I have done. Stay motivated and have confidence when walking into these exams. If you walk into the exam thinking that you're not going to do good, then it's not going to keep you motivated for long. And for long periods of time, for these 3-4 hours that you're sitting there, you need energy and you need motivation. So try to hype yourself up and overall just believe in yourself. If you found these tips helpful, leave a like down below, subscribe, and share for more mini microphone content. Also make sure to comment down below your own tips and advice when it comes to AP exams. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.